Hi, and welcome to the Peer Mentor Podcast. My name is Alex, and I'm the Peer Mentor Officer this year on the Students' Union. As we all know, this week is Learner Resource Week, and to promote the importance of this week, we've recorded a quick podcast on assignments and learner resources. Yes, those dreaded assignments we all have to complete. No matter what your course is, there's always assignments looming over our head, sometimes for weeks, others for months. However, I hope to alleviate your worries and concerns today with some helpful tips from our very own peer mentors here at DBS and some great advice from the library team about the resources they offer for your assignment success. So without further ado, let's begin, shall we? Joining me now is Bella, a psychology student who studies part-time and works full-time and is also one of our peer mentors here at DBS. It's great to sit down with you, Bella, and have a quick chat. Firstly, I want to ask you, how do you start your assignments? What is your process?
I suppose to answer the question how I start my assignments and what my process is, it might be helpful to understand what it is that I study. So I am in my second year studying psychology on a part-time basis. Um, when I'm presented with an assignment, I generally brainstorm to kind of find a focus point on what my essay or topic is about. Um, After that, I would spend a couple of weeks, even during work, on my break, to research different topics. And I would find various articles online using Google Scholar. Um, and what I would do is I'd kind of compile them all into one folder on my computer. Um, Thereafter, I would probably narrow down what I think might be relevant to the topic that I was given. And then from there, I would create a Word document and kind of grab various segments from these articles. And I suppose I would probably also use textbooks. If they are in PDF format, I would, like there's an easier way to find them by pressing Control F and then just searching keywords. So that's kind of how I narrow down information within articles to try and find more specific um, paragraphs that may be relevant to my study.
I think for myself, the Control F feature is vital, especially like you said, when searching for areas of an article or a textbook that is relevant to your course's study. We often become overwhelmed when reading pages upon pages of material. So Control F, which if you have never used it before, is a necessary shortcut for all students to know about. So we all have different referencing systems to use while in college, and for me, I use Ascola as a law student, but I know psychology students use APA, and business students here at DBS, use Harvard. So tell me a little bit how you manage referencing.
In my Word document, I would always make sure to reference, and I would make sure that each paragraph has its own reference. If you are doing any sort of work, especially within psychology, you're much better off referencing each paragraph as you go along, or else you kind of just get lost and you could easily forget where you got your information from, which is unhelpful because then you may not be able to use it. And if you do use it, you may be docked marks because you could be making up a statement that may or may not be true or may not be proven to be relevant to this study. Um, so within psychology, you're much better off if you were to state some sort of opinion on it. It should actually go at the end of whole your whole essay. It should not be at the beginning. The abstract. Anybody who's studying psychology kind of knows the abstract is more or less an overview of your whole um, article that you've been given, like a journal article.
You mentioned the abstract feature there, and I think that's a great tool for students if you don't know about it. Funny enough for me, I only found out about the abstract feature earlier this month when the library did a drop-in session and showed us the different resources we have access to. And in case anyone doesn't know what the abstract feature is, it's where an article is summarized into the key points present in that article. So it makes navigating articles and navigating a lot of articles a lot easier and simpler for students. Where do you go next? What's the next step?
After I have compiled pretty much all of my information, I would spend about 3 or 4 days just writing the essay over and over to try and make it more coherent. It's kind of a difficult process for me because especially at the beginning, my segments used to be separated. Like I got notes from lecturers to say that there's different ways, like two paragraphs could have been merged together or this paragraph could have been put there. So it's always handy to kind of read over all of your work and make sure that it makes sense and that you're not repeating yourself and that all the information flows very well with each other.
That's really important, is to always make sure that you've a cohesive assignment, written up and prepared and drafted, and, always redraft that assignment. I suppose when we talk about assignments, we need to talk about online resources. And do they help? Do they cause more issues? How do you feel about them?
Online resources, I think, can be very helpful. The only thing that I would say is just because there's a lot out there doesn't necessarily mean that you can use all of it. Especially within psychology, there are various websites that you can't use, the likes of Very Well Mind, Simply Psychology, Wikipedia for one. Wikipedia is actually edited by the general public, so some Wikipedia pages might have an actual reference APA psychologist that could have edited it, but I wouldn't necessarily go just by it stating that someone from within a psychology degree has published it.
I would say for myself, anyway, I would always try and stay away from Wikipedia because, like you said, it is edited by the public. I think Wikipedia is great to get the background or history of a topic or an issue, but I wouldn't cite it as a reliable source in my assignment. I think steering away from Wikipedia, are there any other online databases you would recommend?
So I would say is to definitely use Google Scholar as your main base for all of your journal articles that you're researching. The other thing is that there are certain keywords that you're better off using if you are to search through Google Scholar. If you're just going for generic words, you may get overwhelmed by a lot of information.
I've never used Google Scholar myself, but I can only imagine that it has more information than what you might need. Is there a feature, maybe where you can filter the irrelevant information?
The handy thing is that you're able to um, change the search criteria. So you're able to change it to say that you only want articles from the year 2017 to 2022. You're always better off using the most recently published studies. Um,
That's really helpful. I think that just reduces the shock when you realize how much information is really out there to help you with your assignment.
yeah, so if you search critical review or meta analysis, you'll kind of get an overview of a specific topic. So if you're searching developmental psychology, say for instance, you can get Piaget's cognitive developmental theory, and a critical review is somebody who's um, looked through a lot of developmental psychology and they kind of review it while they're comparing it to most recent studies. Meta analysis as well is a very useful keyword. It's basically somebody who's gone through the effort of searching various articles and kind of compile the most recent information and whether or not um, they are relevant to this specific topic. Um,
You couldn't be more right. I think we always want to ensure our references and sources are in line with the question that we are answering. That's how we get the marks, isn't it? I want to continue on and ask you, Bella, do you use the resources we have through the DBS library at all?
the library resources that I use are generally online. I suppose I grew up in an era where I'm very proficient in using a computer, so I can find a lot of things very easily. I suppose that I'm kind of lucky that way. Textbooks, I used to find them handy, but as soon as I found out that you can just press Control F and kind of filter out keywords that you're, maybe relevant to any topic that you're doing or assignments, or, even if you're trying to just scan over some sort of book, I have all my books on my phone, which I find very handy as well. So, there are various ways that you can find them. I know that there is a library in the Angel Street building on the second floor. I would highly recommend using it. It would be a nice quiet space to kind of study in.
I'm glad you mentioned the library because I think, with the last 2 years, we've become very familiar with the digital library, the online library, but the physical library at the Angel Street campus, offers students that ability to take out the physical books with their student card. It also offers reading rooms for students to study, and there's also private study rooms you can book online through the DBS Library website for group projects. You know, the library will actually be joining us later to discuss more about the resources and services they offer, so I'm looking forward to that. But I wanted to ask you a little bit, do you utilize, the reading list feature on the library website at all? I found myself using it quickly to access, different readings when I need to for modules. So do you use it?
With our reading lists, there is once you click into it, you can click into the book. There is also e-sources of the book, so you can check out the books online. You can also use the same website, which is ProQuest eBook Central. You can search by keyword or the author or the ISBN. I would say once you're logged into Moodle, it should be fine. It's quite handy in the sense of you can read the book online, you can download the book, but I think that you only have it for a couple of days. So you're able to check it in and out, which, in today's day and age where everything is mostly expensive and, student salaries aren't necessarily of the higher end. I know that my own isn't anyway. But yeah, so it's handy if you're only looking for a specific chapter of a book.
You're right there now. Student salaries aren't at all enough, to be able to live and study in the city. So I really think, like you said, using those online and physical resources plays a massive part in assisting students with their assignments. I suppose before we wrap up, any final words of advice?
I think that's pretty much about it. Like it's a lot of researching, it's a lot of reading, it's a lot of having to go back over your work, but at the end of the day, the earlier you start your project, the better you'll feel. Some people are good under pressure and, like in fairness to them, they do it well. I'm unfortunately not one of those people, so I would start it early and I'd probably submit it on the day that it's due. Or just the day before because I'm a little bit of a panicker in case there's any mistakes, because sometimes I have had the issue where I uploaded the document but I forgot to press submit, and then like midnight that day I had to like check over it and make sure that it was submitted. So it's always handy to kind of submit it the day before.
I couldn't agree more, Wella. Always submit the day before. You don't want that last minute panic of, is it going to go through? Did it not go through? But, always submit the day before. That's one thing to keep in our head. If you've got nothing else from this podcast, it's always submit the day before. Thanks so much, Bella, for joining me today to talk about your process with starting assignments and also how you use the library and its many, many resources and offices here at DBS. Joining me next is Anna and Aoife from the library. They'll be talking to me a little bit about the services the library offers and the many resources we have access to here as students at DBS. Hi Anna, hey Aoife, it's great to get you on the podcast today. Firstly, I want to begin by asking you if you can tell me a little bit about the resources the library offers for students starting assignments.
So the library has a lot of different types of resources. So we have everything from physical books and ebooks. We even have a large DVD collection, along with all of the journals that have all the articles and databases that you'll use. And all of our resources are tailored for all of the DBS classes. So this is sort of your one-stop shop for any resource that you're going to need for all of your classes.
I think most students don't understand the importance of the library, especially when it comes to researching information for assignments and the many different resources that we as students at DBS can access through the library website. I have a question here from a student here who studies at DBS who says, if I was looking for information on my topic and I was going to use Google, would you think that's a good idea?
I would actually say first thing is you want to look at the library website first, because the great thing about Google is you can find everything. And the bad thing about Google is that you can find everything. So when you're looking for a specific article, or if you're one of the psychology students and you're looking for the Freud collection, we're the best ones to come to because we already have all of those things that you need. So, and we also know where to find them. So if you come into the library or ask us over email or our live chat, say you're trying to search on EBSCO for a particular journal and you're not finding it, you can ask us and we're able to help you find those things right away.
I like what you said there earlier about Google. You can literally find everything through their search engine, but not everything is relevant, You mentioned the physical books we have in the library, but if students wanted to use an ebook, for example, do all books in the library have a corresponding ebook they can access?
We do not have an ebook for every book that we have. And the way that you'll be able to tell is either on your reading list. If it's a book, it will also say it's an e-resource. Or when you look at the library catalog, it'll say that there is an ebook copy. Or if you're just not certain, you can always ask us either at the desk, over email, or on the chat.
So if I was to take out an ebook, for example, do I get the same amount of time to access the ebook as if I took out a physical book?
So the great thing about our ebooks is that unless it tells you that there are only a specific number of ebooks, you can keep the ebook for as long as you need. And which is really great for if you're trying to read it online. It means that you can keep that book as long as you need to, because we have an unlimited license. If we don't have that, you'll find out by the book disappearing from your reading list. And so basically what you'll do is just try to reopen it again, and they'll either tell you if it's available or not.
That's great to know. Students also use journal articles to support their assignments. How do students access articles?
So our journals, you can search for them directly on the library homepage. Make sure, and this is a big tip, make sure that you click library resources instead of the catalog. The catalog will only show you our books and ebooks. Library resources will show you all of our journals. So you can do it a couple of ways. So you can type in the name of the article if you know it, an author's name. You can even do it by keywords. So if you're in one of the computing classes and you're looking up something on cloud computing or artificial intelligence, you can type that in and you'll get all of the results that are about that subject.
I think that search bar on the library website is a brilliant feature to have because, you could spend hours upon hours trying to find an article, but with that search function, you can find the relevant articles quickly and quite simply. Myself and Bella earlier discussed also about the abstract feature for articles, which allows you to quickly read a synopsis of an article. And I think that's really important as well for students to note. Thank you so much, Anna, for talking us through the resources that the library offers. Aoife, you were the first year librarian here at DBS, and first years I believe are in their 4th week of classes so far. I think it's important to mention the library classes that take place throughout the year. Can you tell me a little bit about the benefits for students who attend these classes?
So if you're a first-time student, they're handy because it's a good way to also kind of get to grips with what happens in the library. So we have classes for beginners, basically library beginners, where you learn to find resources in the library, where you learn to write academically and where you learn to think critically. And obviously our information literacy librarian is Amy, and book classes with her through the library website. If you just go to book an academic class, go down and you'll see everything on the calendar there that's bookable.
That's brilliant, Aoife. I don't think students realise the extent of the classes we have access to. Some students are balancing studying and working as well. Can they attend the classes online?
Great thing about them too is they're available online, and if you attend the class, then a link is sent out to you as well, so you're able to rewatch it and miss anything that you might have missed during the class itself.
And what about if students, miss the class or aren't able to attend?
We offer guides online as well on how to use things. So if you have, for example, trouble using our Original or Zotero, the referencing software, we do offer guides on the website as well. And that's kind of like a step-by-step guide on how to use Zotero.
It's great, I'm learning something new here because I didn't know that the guides were available online. You've spoken about the classes the library runs, but are there other classes or events that happen throughout the year to support students?
So we do have on our library calendar, we do have events that are not run by the library. So there are academic writing sessions. You'll also see a tea and talk, which is with our student engagement officer, Sarah, where if you're a student and you need someone to talk to, you're struggling with something, those are a great opportunity for you to get to meet with her. If we also have classes on digital IT skills, there are bookable math classes, there are some on programming. So our library calendar has not only the classes that we have, but also other academic supports, along with information about the peer mentor meetings that happen every week. So it's a great place for you to go if you're looking for support, not just from the library, but any of our academic support services.
Yeah.
Brilliant. The library calendar has all the information that students need access to all the support services that the college offers, from the library to CSU and the peer mentoring program. So remember, the library calendar is where to go to find out all that information. Aoife, are there any extra supports available for first year students?
I'll be offering one-to-one sessions and group sessions as well. The group sessions are solely for people doing group projects, and it's basically where you can come to me and I act as a kind of mediator for the group. So basically, if you're having trouble coming to terms with a group assignment, you're not sure where to start or where to go, you can come to me and I'll help you.
So, keynote there, first years. Aoife is your one-stop shop for assistance. We've spoken about the resources the library offers, from articles to books, both physical and online, and also the support services that are available for students to access. Assignments are always in the back of our minds as students, no matter the due date. Can you share some advice if students are unsure about where to begin with their assignments? Aoife, do you want to start?
Basically, just come talk to us. Like, we're your one-stop shop. If you come in and tell us you're having trouble with something, you don't know where to start, we can definitely guide you in the right direction.
And Anna?
Yeah, and I would also say that we are a great place for if, as Aoife said, if you come in and you don't know, like, how do I find resources to work on some of these assignments? Or you're saying I'm really struggling with, I know dissertations have just started, so if you are starting to worry about that, we offer dissertation support classes. If you're doing your capstone project, we have bookable sessions for that as well. So it's not only that you can come to us because I can't find the book or the article I'm looking for, but you can come in and say, I need help with planning my assignments. And we can either guide you with that in a one-to-one meeting, or we can recommend one of our classes, or we can help you find other sources to help you out with all of that.
I think the one takeaway from both of your answers is to talk to yourselves and the team at the library. Like you said, you're there to help students with assignments, whether that be helping them locate relevant books or articles, explaining the importance of referencing and how to reference correctly, or even sitting down with them through a one-on-one session to help them structure their assignments and talk through their assignments and their thought processes.
And another thing as well is that for a lot of people too, they just need a quiet space to work. You might not get that at home or wherever you're staying. So we offer study rooms, and we obviously have a reading room and that you're welcome to come and use every day, basically up until 10 o'clock and then 9 o'clock on Fridays.
Yeah, and that is a really great place for, if the study rooms are all for group work, but the reading room is a really nice quiet place for you to be able to sit. You can bring in what we would call quiet foods and drinks, so that if you need to, get a coffee while you're studying, you're able to pop out and get those sorts of things. So it's a nice place for you to come.
Yeah, and we're just basically at the desk as well. So if you have a problem or anything while you're in the library, we are just right there.
For me, especially the reading room last year at the library was my saviour when I was, trying to complete my assignments and studying for my end of year exams. But remember, only quiet foods in the library. Thanks so much, Anna and Aoife, for joining me today to share your advice on starting assignments and also explaining the resources students have access to here at DBS. Thank you for tuning into this podcast. Like I said at the beginning, it is Learner Resource Week this week, so be sure to make the most of the resources we have at hand. Pop down to the library to say hello to the team, come along and meet the mentors at the weekly PAL sessions, or have a tea and talk with Sisu. The resources are plentiful. Thank you to Bella, Anna and Aoife for all their advice and tips they've shared with us today. Till next time, take care.